bringing you the best in alternative music since 1985. This is the only station that matters. 90.5 FM, WBER Rochester. Good morning. I'm Jennifer V. I do have Angelo coming in, hopefully very soon. We're going to talk a little bit about his nonprofit organization. I simply know it as the Alle Project because it's something near and dear to our hearts that live in Irondequoit and beyond. And she is a little angel that we keep having to mention because it's so important to raise awareness about OI, and he's going to come in and talk about that. And so that'll be happening really soon. And Angelo, how are you?
I'm doing fine.
You're doing fine. I'm so glad that you're here because when was the last time that you were on New Wave Wednesday? It's probably been...
Actually, I don't think I've ever been on New Wave Wednesday.
You did one time, but maybe not. Maybe not.
I think you were here. I was here for actually
maybe
many years ago.
Maybe it was a fundraiser.
I was here for the very first Be the Next BR DJ, and I was here for the very first overnighter.
Wow.
Which I'm not allowed to talk about because I got in trouble at home for that.
Oh, okay. We'll keep that on the down low. But Angelo and I have a long history of knowing each other. You're still working for BOCES, aren't you?
No? West Irondequoit.
You're West Irondequoit School District. Okay, I was going to say a BOCES connection there, but that's kind of how we met, was through work. I think before we met through West Irondequoit, which obviously is where we live and our children go to school. And so you have... I love just seeing all the different unique fundraising ideas that you have because as being really the champion of an amazing nonprofit, you come up with so many interesting ideas to raise funds. And so give us the history of your organization and give us an idea of this upcoming fundraiser that you have going on.
Okay. Well, the organization is called the Alle Project, which is named after my first daughter named Alle Collazo. Just to let you side note, Shea is from the Shea Stadium because I'm a big Mets fan.
All right. I always wondered that. I wondered if it was a family name. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's beautiful. I love it.
My daughter was born with type 2 osteogenesis imperfecta, as short for OI, also known as brittle bone disease. A quick history about how we found out is at our 20-week ultrasound, we went to the doctor for our, annual ultrasound to see the sex of the baby, and we had him write it down on a card because we was going to reveal it at our Christmas party, family Christmas party. Right. Well, later that night, around 11:45 at night, I remember this like it happened yesterday, I got a phone call, and I thought it was a telemarketer. It said, "Can we speak to Kimberly?" And I was like, it's 11:45 at night, and she's in bed.
Right.
And then the person goes, "Well, this is Dr. Klimek." I'm like, "Oh." I'm like, "Okay, sorry, I thought you were a telemarketer, so let me go get her." I'm like, "Why is he calling this late?"
Yeah.
And he said, I was going over the ultrasound results, and looks like Allie's arms and legs are 4 weeks shorter than the rest of her body.
Wow.
Her arms and legs are growing at 16 weeks, and the rest of her body is at 20 weeks. So he said, "I want you to come back just to make sure that the ultrasound tech didn't just do one little mismeasurement because I could have thrown the whole formula off."
Yeah.
So we didn't get any sleep that night. So we went back. He did the ultrasound, and we waited for the results, and it was confirmed that her arms and legs are 4 weeks shorter than they should have been. So he kept us coming back every 2 weeks or so to measure her, and she was growing steadily, but her arms and legs never caught up with her. So after a while, he released us to Strong, and he said, "I don't have rights to be at Strong, so we're going to turn you over to their doctors." So we went to a place, and every 2 weeks they rotated doctors, and every 2 weeks that's when we had to go for ultrasound. So every 2 weeks we saw a different doctor, and every 2 weeks we got a different diagnosis.
Oh my goodness!
Somebody thought it was dwarfism, somebody thought it was some other long name, and then other doctor said, "I don't see this, I don't know what they're talking about." It was very, very frustrating.
I bet.
We had no answers, and even at one ultrasound, I was able to be there. Kim, my wife, looked at the ultrasound, was like, "Does it look like her leg is broken?" And the doctor goes, "Nah, baby legs don't break in utero." It's like, it looked really like, how a skull and crossbone looks?
Yeah.
Crossbone, that's what it looked like.
Yeah.
And we're like, "It looks like it's broken." And the doctor goes, "No, it's not broken. That's just a shadow on the ultrasound." Well, a few weeks later, they were stumped. And they said, "Okay, we're going to induce your wife at 37 weeks. We're going to do a test to see if Allie could breathe on her own.
Okay.
And if there's some something being an amniotic fluid that could tell that she's breathing on her own, and then we're just going to induce her, bring her out, and that way we can see what's going on.
Right, right.
So that happened. Allie was born 3 weeks early, and she looked normal to me when I was in the delivery room. We had no clue. She was born by C-section. And so it was like 2 hours before we heard anybody. Then that's when like a team of like 14 doctors, nurses, and geneticists walked into our room. And we're like, uh-oh.
Yeah.
So the doctor sat down, the head NICU doctor sat down. He said, we examined Allie, and she has type 2 osteogenesis imperfecta. And we just like, what?
Yeah, what's
because we never really heard of it.
Sure.
So he turned it over to geneticists, and he explained what it was. And we're like, wow. And he was saying, like, it's usually babies who are born with type 2 don't live that long. They really weren't expecting her to live past the night.
Wow.
Because I remember that night, they go, we could find a chaplain for you and get her baptized. Didn't ask if we wanted her baptized. They just said, we could find one for you and get her baptized for you later that night. And it really did hit home until we saw her x-rays about what the severity of her condition.
Right.
And when we saw the x-rays, our hearts just like dropped because she had broken ribs. That was from inside being in utero, from moving around. And from the birth, she had a broken arm, broken wrist, broken legs. And yes, her leg was healing and it broke again. And that was the original break that we saw in the original ultrasound from that one doctor. And so we were like really sad. And then she gave us a good highlight because that was when she first opened up her eyes. So the nurse rushed into the room and they said, like, she rushed in so quick, we thought maybe that was, she passed away. And she said, she opened up her eyes. We ran out, well, didn't ran. We walked out there because Kim just gave birth.
Right.
And we, hung out with her for a little bit. But she only had her eyes open for a little bit, her whole 5 weeks that she lived, because she had to be on morphine her whole 5 weeks because her breaks was just so bad. And like her skull looked like a cracked egg.
Right. So that's the basis for what's going on. So the bones are just never able to
it's
solidify or to...
It's a genetic disorder, but with Allie's case, it was just a freak gene mutation. What it is that OI is it's a genetic disorder, like I said, that the collagen gene is not producing enough collagen in your body. And after doing my research on this, I found that the collagen's in like pretty much every fiber of your being.
Right.
And people who have OI, they do live long lives, but there's like 8 or 9 different types of OI right now.
Okay.
And but they really concern themselves with like the first 5. And Allie had type 2, which is the worst, the most severe. Type 1 is the least severe. A person who have type 1 could like have just a few breaks or have no signs of it at birth, but then they'll take the child home and then they'll do everything right, diaper, and they'll break the baby without even knowing it. Just a baby rolling over could break.
Wow.
So like the person, like I said, the person bones are like chalk. Basically, they're really, really fragile.
Okay. Yeah, and that would be very challenging to live your life that way. So, so you have at least started the Alle Project, and Allie was born on April 14th, right? Which is my daughter's birthday. I don't know if you knew that.
I didn't know that.
Olivia's birthday, too.
Oh, I didn't know that.
I always say a little prayer for her on Olivia's birthday because it's like, oh, they share the same year or the same day. So tell us a little bit about the fundraisers that you have. And I know you've created a lot of awareness for OI. I know you do a lot actually for children across the world in sending them care packages to those that are affected by OI, which is a beautiful thing. So what do you have coming up to raise awareness, raise funds for this organization?
Well, right now, my latest one is a comedy show, which we call, and it's a little play on words here, Cracking Up for Better Bones.
Okay. All right. Well, I like that you got a sense of humor there. Got to do that.
Yep. It's September 30th. And we have 4 amazing comics, and one of the comics is local. Her name is Pamela Wirtz. She lives in Fairport.
Nice.
And we connected. We did a comedy show 2 years ago, and she performed with another comic, and we became friends. And with all the other kind of issues we were having, she said, hey, let's do another fundraiser. And we're like, sure. And she said, let me find some comics, and she said it was easier than she thought. She contacted 3, and they said, sure. And basically, they're doing this for free.
Oh, that's
So they're coming. We have one coming from Corning, Steve O'Connell.
Okay.
One coming from New Jersey, which is Sandy Ellers. And then our headliner, Jess Miller, is coming all the way from Massachusetts to do this.
Oh, great.
So we're like very grateful for this. They're like, wow.
That's wonderful. So it's September 30th, and where are they going to be performing, and how can people find out about ticket information and all that?
It's going to be at the Comedy at the Carlson. It's on 50 Carlson Road in Rochester.
Where's that? I'm so out of the loop on comedy. So yeah, tell me, where's Carlson Road?
It's not too far from Irondequoit. It's I looked it up on Google.
Okay.
And
so you didn't know where it was either. Okay, well that would be nice to know.
But I know from I live in East Irondequoit, and from
Right.
there it says like 15 minutes.
Okay. All right.
So
okay,
it's really we'll figure that out.
All right, somebody tell us. Somebody just Google that for us. Okay, yeah, because I've never heard of it.
Yeah,
okay,
so yeah,
cool.
we have some great comics like Jess Miller. She has a very successful comedy show that she puts on, and she always draws 300 to 400 people.
Oh, that's nice.
And
that's nice.
and
so, what is your website? Where can we tell people to go to find?
You
out
could go
more
to
information?
www.allesheaproject.org, ALLESHEA project.org.
Wonderful.
And there you'll find information on the comedy show and pretty much everything else that we do. And as you said, I pick out a lot of different and unique fundraisers because OI is something that many people have not heard of. So
Right.
I got to try to be the greatest showman and try to get people interested in something that they really can't relate to.
Yeah.
So I have to be an advertisement.
Awareness.
Yeah.
Well, you have to create awareness for things that, and there's so many things out there like that people don't know about, and that's why I'm grateful that you came on today, because I do try to have, or I try to pick organizations that I'm not on all the time and maybe don't get that kind of awareness here. Because everything is important, especially when you're trying to talk about awareness and fundraising. So I'm grateful. So the date again for the show is September
30th. It's a Sunday, but it's going to be an early show, and
nice.
everybody will be home before. I mean, they can still go home and watch the Sunday night football game.
I was just going to say, are we home before football? Because that's really what matters. No, I'm just kidding. So wonderful. Well, Angelo, I want to thank you for coming in.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All the success. I'll put some stuff on the website too, get that from you so that we can let our listeners know via that way. And if you have any questions, 585-381-2386. And once again, the website is www.alleshea.project. That's ALLESHEA project.org. Yes. So thank you, Angelo.
Thank you for having me.
All right. You're welcome. And this is your request, which I love.
Yeah.
From Peter Murphy, because this was definitely multiply requested today. Here is All Night Long on the only station that matters, 90.5 FM WBER.